Good morning, everyone. I was supposed to make these on Valentine's Day, but I didn't, so I thought I'd make them today and do a video about it. This is the Reese's lava cake mix, and it was very confusing to me at first. I'm going to show you why it's confusing. So it says you will need for 1 pouch a 1/3 cup of butter and 2 eggs, right? And then it says heat your oven, place butter in microwave safe bowl, cover microwave until melted, empty 1 pouch of lava cake mix into melted butter, stir, microwave 20 seconds, add eggs, and so forth. Divide batter between foil cups. Okay, so what I didn't understand is, well, then why do I have 2 of each thing here? This is where the confusion came in on my end. I didn't realize it means it's 2 pouches, 2 bags of chips. So apparently for 1 pouch, you would need a 1/3 cup of butter and 2 eggs. But if you want to make the 2 pouches, then it's 2/3 cups of butter and 4 eggs. And the reason that's so confusing to me is because it says it makes 8 lava cakes. So I thought, the 2 bags combined made 8 lava cakes because there are 8 foils. And I guess it still is confusing because it doesn't say 1 pouch makes 4 foils. It says makes 8 lava cakes, but they're only using 1 pouch at a time. So I'm going to do it a different way and do it my own way and see if it comes out right. To save money, I usually use like Blue Bonnet baking sticks, but Walmart was out, so I picked up their brand of the sweet cream unsalted butter. And right here on the actual stick, it says 1/3 cup is 5 1/3 tablespoons, and they lay it out by tablespoon here. And I need 1/3 cup times 2. So I'm going to need 10 2/3 tablespoons of the butter. 1 stick is 8 tablespoons, so I'm going to have to use a portion of a second stick here. Okay, so I got the butter divided up and I started a little pan on the stove, making sure that the pan would hold both bags of the mix. And I'm going to do this on the stove instead of in a microwave. The first step is to melt the butter thoroughly. I have a gas stove and I'm using low to medium heat, and it's boiling nicely and melting that butter. It's now completely melted, so I'm going to go ahead and do the next step. The next step after you melt the butter is to put 1 pouch, but here I'm going to put the 2 into the butter, and it says microwave. I'm not going to do that. After I mix it thoroughly with the melted butter, I'm going to then add 4 eggs. So in goes both pouches of mix. Now I'm stirring to mix thoroughly. At this time, I also turn my heat down to low. I'm still mixing, and then I'm going to start adding eggs, and it's a total of 4 eggs. Okay, I got 4 eggs in here, and it says to mix for 1 minute until stirred. It might take me 2 because I have the double batch going. Okay, that's completely stirred now, and I have a pan prepared. I just turned off my heat to my stove. I prepared an extra large cupcake or muffin tin. It's enough to make 6. And the directions say divide batter between foil cups, but in this case I'm putting them in the muffin tins. And then place 1 pouch peanut butter cups onto batter, about 1 tablespoon each. Place cups on baking sheet. So these are lava cakes. Apparently you put the batter in the foils they give you. I'm changing it up to put it in my muffin tin. And then once I have the batter in there, then you put the chips on top, and the chips look like this. They give you 2 little bags of peanut butter chips. So I guess the best way to go about this is to divide the batter evenly and then to divide the chips evenly. I used a regular table-sized serving spoon, and each cup used about 3 spoons, and see how goopy it is? It dripped. I'll be wiping that off with a paper towel before putting it in the oven. So the next step after you divide the batter is to put the peanut butter chips on the batter. It doesn't say squish them in there. It just says put it on the batter, about 1 tablespoon each. The easiest way for me to do this, because I have 2 bags, I have 6 muffin tins prepared. I think I'm going to use 1 bag to do 3 and the next bag to do 3. So I'm going to divide these into thirds. It comes out to about 38 chips per lava cake, or 2 regular kitchen spoon sizes, fulls. So if you put this in here, I can measure out 2 spoonfuls of chips, but it's 38 chips total. I counted them out. Now, per the instructions, I'm just going to put this on there. I'm not going to smush them in. Okay, so I'm at the point now where I've divided up the chips, and if you're using the foils, then you would place them on the baking sheet. In this case, I'm using a muffin tin, and I'm going to heat the oven now to 400. And I'm going to bake them for 12 to 14 minutes until the sides are set and the centers are soft. Let stand 2 minutes. Okay, so these are supposed to be served immediately. In this case, my son is traveling with them tomorrow to college. They're not going to be served immediately, but I don't think college kids are going to care. They're probably going to scarf them down. Okay, as my oven preheats, this is what my tray now looks like as I wiped off all the excess chocolate that dripped. And away we go, crossing my fingers. This is what 12 minutes looks like. Baking them for 5 more minutes at this point because the chips aren't even melted yet. Okay, so now we're at the 22-minute mark. I put them in for an additional 5 minutes and they just start to look done. I inserted a toothpick and it still isn't done, so I'm going to do 3 more minutes for a total of 25 minutes, probably because they were bigger than what was said to do by the box instructions. So I'm not worried about the amount of time it's taking. What I'm noticing is the chips aren't melting. This is 25 minutes in the oven, and they are bouncy to the touch. I'm just putting my finger, they are hot, but they're bouncy to the touch. I put a toothpick in it, it came out clean, and the last bit of the box instructions say to run knife around sides of cups to loosen. That was the tinfoil cups they provided, but it applies to the same thing with the pan that I used. And then it says immediately place small serving plate upside down over each cup. Turn plate and cup over and remove foil cup. Serve immediately. And because the chips haven't melted in that hot oven, I have to imagine that by flipping these muffins over, that the chips melt from the heat and weight of the cooked muffin. So I'm going to go ahead and try that. I have a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper, and I made sure that the cookie sheet is bigger than the muffin tray so none of them spill out over the side. This is what my pan looks like. They did come out in a clean way. I did take a butter knife and go around the edges to get them to loosen first. And flipping them was really easy. They just slid right out of that pan. But I did prepare it with baking spray prior to putting the batter in the pan. But as you can see, they might even be a little overcooked on the bottom. Like this one's had just started to probably burn. I'm sure they're still good. I just wanted to make sure they were nice and done before taking them out. It was hard to tell because, you know, the box says 12 to 14 minutes, but it took 25 minutes overall. So I believe that's what's happening. The weight and the heat from the muffin is now settling on those chips and melting them under the weight and heat. The way I did it made a bigger lava cake than what was intended. Not by much, but you can see the foil they gave you or the size of the muffin pan opening in my pan. So they're just a tad bit bigger, but it took more batter, and I only got 6 instead of the 8 the box says it makes. Okay, so after a few minutes I thought I will flip them over and see if I was right that the chips would have melted under the weight and heat of the muffin, and they didn't melt at all. But that's okay. I imagine when my son gets to his college campus, they will put these in a microwave before eating them anyway because it's a lava cake, so they're going to want them melted. Overall, would I do this again? Yes. The only difference being that I would definitely melt the chips, and instead of placing the chips on top of the batter, I would do like a spoon and a half, then the melted chips, then a spoon and a half of the chocolate, so that the melted part is in the middle of the lava cake, not just the hard chips on top of the batter and in the oven, because as you can see, they didn't melt. That would be what I would do if I did this again. In fact, because my son is taking this to college with him, and because, you know, I have this Dollar Tree cake plate with a lid here for him, I'm just going to put them upright. And if they want to eat these as a muffin, they can certainly do that. Or if they want to, you know, melt the chips in a microwave, they can do that when they reheat them. But, you know, there it is. I'm sure the college kids won't care. They're going to eat them regardless. But that's how that came out, in case you have one of those mixes and want to try it at home. Thanks so much for watching today. Take care.